everyone, I'm Cynthia Garrett, and welcome to the sessions. And you know that I'm having a really great time when I'm hanging out with somebody 3 weeks in a row. But that's what's been going on around here. My guest has been Brian Head Welch from the rock band KORN. We have gone through his testimony from a little boy dream through fame and all of the trappings of fame and the addictions and a very dark period into the glorious light of his relationship with Christ and through a large part of his parenting journey, which we got into last week. And so I want to welcome him back to the sessions. Hey, Brian, we're back.
Hey, Cynthia, good to see you again.
Hey. So, all right, I want to dive right in because last week we were talking about just your parenting journey and all of these amazing breakthroughs that Janaea, your daughter, has had. And one of the quotes that you made to Rolling Stone magazine was so cool because you basically said something like, I was afraid that my tears were going to mess up the computer when I wrote her part. And I just wanted to kind of really get something clear, like, could you give what would your parenting advice be to people out there who are dealing with young teenagers, with kids who are going through, whether it's addictions, cutting, hurting themselves, whatever it is, who are going through issues and feeling like they just don't know what to do?
Well, do you think people would listen to my advice, looking how I look? Hopefully, but I have been through it, so maybe they will.
Yeah.
But that's a joke. But yeah, I've been through it, and I would just be like, whatever you have to do to get your child healed is what you need to do. And I mean, if it's tough love, like, me, I had to take my daughter to a place that she had to move out of the house and go to a place for teens. It's so hard to do stuff like that, but that was what healed her. And I would say, like, you only have a certain amount of time before your kids are adults, because teenage years, they'll go quick. And so you have to take that time to do anything and everything you can to get them to a place where they can be successful on their own. So, don't let the time, that's important. That's a really important time that you have, with your children. And you have the authority legally and everything. So do anything you can, pray. And every family is unique, I think. And I think there's a strategy for a unique strategy for every family. And, but also seek help, like talk to people. Don't isolate your family. Go and talk to people in your neighborhood, in your whatever, in your town. Look for churches, look for places that could help, because there are people out there who can help guide you, that God will use to help guide you. And you don't have to walk this alone.
Good. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get a recap on that. And this week, I really want to dive into talking about faith and boldness, which I think is something that, and I know you're going to get this, in the world that we live in, there's more people who are more vocal about being Christians. But do you think that more celebrities in general need to be bolder about being Christians?
Yes, I really do, because we're given a platform, to do what we do. And, I don't sit here and be critical of people, though. I don't know. I don't know how to walk in other people's shoes, And so I just think that, Christ, the Lord is doing something with the church in the last, decade or two, or we're in a pivotal time where the face of the church is getting changed. And, just like even 20 years ago, it was so much different, and I remember there was books like Jesus Come Back in 1988 and all this stuff. It was just really hokey and wacky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a wisdom and a maturity coming on the church, and I think like the people in the spotlight are given that mantle to help just give the church a new face, and a new understanding, because and so God is doing that. He's giving us that, and so I think people need to be vocal about it, and they can do it in their own unique way. I'm doing it in my own unique way. I'm a wild metal rocker. Like I bang my head for a living, and I'm so hyper usually, and I'm like the class clown in my band. I'm always goofing around and everything, so I can be me. But everybody knows around me, from fans to the media, to the rock media, to my band, and management. Everybody knows that I am in a relationship with Christ, and it's so real to me. But they also, most of them, hopefully know that I'm not religious, because a lot of religion people still bash me,
Yeah.
for being in the band and everything. And so I can be a unique expression. I don't have to form into anybody's opinion of what Christians can be. I am a follower of Jesus, and I can be me. I'm free to be who I am. And I just like to spread that around. And I think that actors, musicians, sports figures, and everything should really, have a heart to heart with God about their message and how they can do it in a way that makes it clear that they're not the religious version of Christian. They're very unique, and they walk with them in their own way, and that every individual that they influence can be a very unique expression of Christ on the earth with Christ.
Oh, I love that because, okay, first of all, for those of you who don't know, so like in 2013, I'd say you rejoined KORN. So you took this long season away from the band after you got saved, which I think it's like if you get saved out of alcoholism, you need a season out of the bars. But then to me, when you rejoined the band as a born again Christian, and I've heard, the Christian criticism and the judgment, but to me, who else is God going to send in there to reach those people? He's not going to send me. He's going to send you. So
it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Do you deal obviously with a lot of the Christians going, what is that? How can he be there doing that and call himself a Christian?
Well, if they just look at society and Netflix and all the TV around the world and everything, if you're going to get upset with a couple F words, then you're never going to reach anybody for Christ, ever. And that's all that's going on. That's all that's going on around me is there's people partying at the shows, they're drinking, it's their night out away from work and everything, and they're drinking, but there's no groupies backstage. There's no cocaine, there's no any drugs backstage anymore. None of that's there. So I'll make that clear to people. How can you walk into that? Because that stuff's gone. The Lord, I totally have seen that God has worked on the situation. And honestly, a lot in the rock world, it's not the same. It's not the drugs and the groupies anymore. I've been backstage. I've been so many concerts, and sure, there are bands that still do it a little bit, but for the most part, I feel like there's been an awakening in that.
They grew up. I think a lot of people grew up. Yeah. Especially let's think about it. There's very few rock stars left anymore, right? They all grew up. They got families. It's very, tame at a Lenny concert, and I've heard that it's very tame backstage at your concerts.
And even like the younger bands that are coming up, the industry as streaming music and everything, there's not the money that there used to be, and just the glitz and glamour, it's still there, but it's not the same anymore. So these younger bands are have more of a humble heart,
Right.
It's crazy. It's so cool to see that it's not just like the Motley Crue days and in the 80s when everything was just like all that. And some people I hear all the time, they're like, oh, I miss the Motley Crue days. I'm like, no, you don't, man. I lived them, and there's nothing but just heartache and division and and depression in it. Yeah, it's depression. It's like there's nothing good in it. Nothing that comes good from it.
But there was an this image in it, right? Because of course, look, the enemy's really good at showing everybody the image of, ooh, doesn't it look cool? Doesn't it look like this? And for those of you watching, like, you have to know the image is all a lie. It's a deception. Do you think that a lot of celebrities maybe are reluctant to be bolder about their faith because of image?
I think that's a great point. Probably, but I mean, I tell people all the time, it's like the stage is awesome, the show is awesome. They dress it up and people work so hard, crew works so hard to get the show to look so beautiful, when the crowd gets there. But during the day, it's all just stuff everywhere. And back behind the stage, the dressing rooms are usually brick walls or concrete walls. And they're honestly, we joke that we're in a jail cell all day because we can't go outside because the fans are all there and we'd be out there for hours. So we're stuck in our dressing rooms and there's just really concrete walls, and we try to dress them up a little bit, but there's like a chair and two couches. So we're like crammed in there all together, and it's like we're in a jail cell like, all day. But yeah, it's just not what people think. But it is a blessing and it is fun for the fans, but it's not the all end all and all that stuff.
So you like to go out and actually tell people about Jesus at your shows, right? And you're getting ready to do this in Japan?
I love to talk about Jesus anywhere and everywhere. Media, books, documentary, and with fans, one-on-one. You know, when you first fell in love with your husband, you were telling everybody, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I met the guy. Da, da, da. So when you're in love, you can't keep your mouth shut.
Right.
And that's the thing. And so God's love, I'm a feeler. And so I felt him since day one. And I feel him even more to this day, and so I can't stop it. It's so good. It's like I got like $1 trillion and I can't keep it to myself. I want to give it away. And so, yeah, I do it. What's funny? It's like, I'm the type of person where I'm not as comfortable one-on-one, but, with the crowds, I'm better, So I'll gather like, anywhere from like 20 to 40 people after the shows, and just we'll send my people out. I know people all over the world. God's connected me with people that they go out and they search for people in the crowd. It's like treasure hunting or something, and so I just love on them, and I tell them my story, and that Christ will reveal himself to them too, and it's the answer, and sometimes there's dramatic things that happen, and sometimes there's not. But I know that some of these people are around my age when I came to Christ, and so I know even if they don't receive him right there, that they're seeds, and that as they mature in life, they're gonna always remember that they got chosen that night to hear what I had to say. And I always tell them, if they're like, man, I love your band, but religion's not for me. I don't believe in that stuff. And I just say, hey man, keep your heart open. And I lead them to the Lord anyway. I go, when you're ready, all you got to say is, Lord, come in, show me that you're real, forgive me, and that whole shebang. So even when they say no, I show them how to do it, because I believe that there's one day they're going to be alone, lying in bed, and they're going to do it just like I did,
That's pretty incredible, because it really it makes me think of something that Lenny said to me years ago, and he said, girl, Christianity needs an image makeover, and it's us. And I never forgot that, because what he meant, the purity of that, there was no ego in that. What he meant was, there's a lot of people who look like us. They look kind of like freaks and geeks, and and they've been through stuff, and they just want to see somebody that reminds them of themselves. And so, for you, do you ever stop to really appreciate the fact that God made you uniquely and gave you a very unique lane to drive in for the kingdom?
It's just, I'm so grateful for that, because, when when I met Christ, I was like, I'll do anything. I don't care. I found the meaning of life. I said that in the last episode. And so I would have become that cookie cutter Christian because of my love for Christ. I would have become that as much as, I could have. But I'm so thankful to find out that there's freedom to be a unique expression with him on the earth.
Yeah.
And it's so, gosh, man. And that's my message, is to be the unique, anybody and everybody. You don't have to conform to any religious thing. You just have to desire relationship and love with God and walk with him, and then share your journey, And so that's why it just makes me so crazy when people share their journey on Facebook or whatever, and then they'll have a swarm, like a hornet's nest of Christians, like talking about, oh, you can't do it. They're expressing their journey. My gosh, we're all unique expressions, and we have the freedom to express that, man. And even if there are errors and mistakes, let it be done with the close, intimate connection. Why do strangers have to feel the urge to correct people online? You know what I mean? Why? It's like,
Yeah.
it's just
On your
people,
it's like, this is my Facebook page.
yes. And every Christian that sees it is like, oh man, see, they're judging each other, every non-Christian that sees it, they're just sitting there watching going, why would I want that? All they do is pick at each other, saying, no, my way's right, my way's right, da 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 da. So why would I want that? So that irritates me. And so, yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah. I love that you have uniquely made Jesus a part of your life in the way that I think we're authentically supposed to walk around with him. Like, right, we're the reflection of him. We're the light of Christ in the earth. And if we won't love the way that he does, who will?
I don't want people to feel like I'm throwing it down their throat either when they don't want it. So it's like, I know when to love and let my love talk, and I know when to speak, and be more of like the preaching type of thing. So, it's a balance. It's a real balance.
I mean, at the end of the day, and it's not to force anybody, because, even Lenny has said to me, I haven't found like my way yet, like, because each of us has our own unique way, but we are called to make disciples. If you could get together and encourage each other, it kind of like sets a fire that you can sort of take out and feel like, okay, I'm not the only one,
Yeah.
I have brothers and sisters in this, and I can sort of learn from them,
Learn, and we could share frustrations, because I still have frustrations too. I'm not like this bold guy that, that just does it's all smooth, because I get frustrated sometimes where I'm like, I'm not seeing results sometimes that I want to see. I want to see the power of God hit people in a large number, like he did for me. Sometimes I don't see that. I don't see that as much as I want to. Mm-hmm. Usually it's like, a few out of the group, or some nights are just like resistance, and I'm like, man, I'm tired. Why am I doing this? I want to see you move, Lord. I want to see you touch them. And so I was at a point when I first came back to KORN where there's a period of time where I wasn't really vocal, because I wanted a strategy, and I wanted to be me. I wanted to be my unique expression, and I didn't want to just go out there and preach at people. And so when Todd White and Darren Wilson came in with the movie Holy Ghost and filmed our scene for that movie, that was some understanding that I got with the way the Lord, how I could do it, And so I thank God for that, and Darren and Todd for helping that. And then Robbie Dawkins, who and he came in and took it to another level too. So I've had help, but just getting together with other people in the spotlight, it might be a good thing. I think people might be able to gain strategies just talking, just talking. So maybe this is something that we're going to set up in the future. Who knows?
We're birthing a retreat. Hey.
Come on.
Hey, I'm open. Why not? But there's something you said to Rolling Stone magazine that I love, and they asked you a question, and it was, what's the best advice you've ever given to someone else? I don't even know if you remember this. Your answer was, die now instead of when you die. And I love that answer about dying. What do you
Wow.
think about dying today?
Oh my gosh. It's like, oh, it's so beautiful when the false self dies and the true self rises up, because the true self is created in the image of God, and when Christ resurrects that. And wow, I like that I said that. Did I elaborate anymore, or just say die now instead of
Die
later?
now instead of when you die. I
Yeah,
got that.
yeah. So you got it, and so yeah, it's a really beautiful thing, to just let it go, because we build this image of ourselves, and with masks, and of who society says that we need to be, and we build this image and we work so hard at it, you know, and then it frustrates us when it's not fulfilling us. And so when we allow that image to be demolished and just to fall, we die into life. Like we fall, as we're falling, we're actually coming back up, And so, ooh,
Dead things live again with Christ.
yes, yes, yes. It's
It's like
so,
the quicker you die, the quicker you live, you know? So true.
yeah.
So a few questions in closing, kind of the Brian Head Welch list, I guess you would say. Who's your favorite worship artist that you're listening to today? Your favorite song, favorite worship song?
Oh, um, honestly, like I listen to a lot of instrumental music, because I listen to regular worship music too, but I'm going through a season where it's like no words. So there's one called Bethel. The Bethel music is really cool for me. They have something called No Without Words, Bethel Music Without Words. They have two CDs with that title, part one and part two. And you know what? Sometimes human words aren't enough, and the instrument music takes me beyond, and I could feel, it's like I could commune and have union with God deeper when there's no words there, because like the human language is so limited to describe the heavenlies. And so that's where I'm at. But other artists that I love, Melissa, David, Emma,
Oh,
the No More.
Jonathan David Helzer and Melissa Helzer.
Yes, yes,
Yes, love them.
they're so good. I love the. Uh,
Love them, by the way. Even their albums before Bethel, I used to listen to. They're amazing.
Give me some new worship. What do you listen to?
What do I listen to? A lot of Jonathan David Helzer and Melissa Helzer, his wife. A lot. Like no joke. The theme song for this show is No Longer Slaves. I mean,
Oh wow.
yeah, because fear is such a huge thing that I think all Christians wrestle with, and that song is just like an anthem that frees the soul. And you can tell that, like, to me, when they sing, they go into a place and they're really accessing the Lord. So yeah, I listen to that a lot, especially right now. And I like anointed worship music, and I mean, so what is that? I think Hillsong had a great one with What a Beautiful Name.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful one. If there were two people that are well known on the planet today that you could witness Christ to, who would they be?
Whoa. You didn't prepare me for this one. um, Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh.
Uh, I don't know. Maybe more of Marilyn Manson.
Wow.
He was
Okay.
a ministry partner at a concert
Marilyn?
once. Well, he didn't know it, and I'll tell you. So there were some terminally ill cancer patients that were given a gift to come on stage and watch the bands at a huge festival, 50,000 people or something. And they came on stage, and what's cool? I got the reputation. Oh, go to Brian. He'll come and spend extra time with them. So I go over there, and I got my guitar on. The lights go out, and I'm like, hey, you guys, can I pray for you? And they let me pray for them. And after the prayer, I'm like, you guys, Christ totally changed my life. If you ask him inside, he'll come in. And so they asked him, Christ, to come in, and they prayed. And so I walk out on stage, and there's like this feather floating off of my guitar pedal board, the big white feather. And I picked it up, and I looked at one of the terminally ill patients, and she turned around and she pointed to wings on her shirt. And so there was a connection, and she looked at that as a sign from God, So I go back, so I told them I want to spend time with them after the show. I take them back to the dressing room area. It's KORN, Marilyn Manson, and a couple other bands. And these, even though they accepted Christ, they're metal fans, And I saw Manson, and they all the terminally ill patients were like, "Oh my gosh, there's Marilyn Manson." So I went over to him and I said, "Hey, come here. Will you say hi to these people?" And he came over, and they started crying, and he gave them hugs and everything. So it was just, we just have to remember that God loves everybody, even anti-Christ people, And so he's not afraid of anyone's sin, anyone's rebellion, anyone's darkness. He's seen it for thousands of years. Christ's love is so powerful that it will forgive everything.
We just have to reach across sometimes what seems like a great divide. But it's really not that great when you start the reach.
No, we're just humans. We're broken humans, and we're dealing with our brokenness different. Some, it's like Marilyn Manson. It's like he tries to put on the persona anti-God, anti all this stuff. But meanwhile, he's a broken person who was persecuted by religious people when he was a kid. And this is his manifestation of spiritual abuse. And so we just need to remember that, God's arms are always open to everybody. Everybody.
Man, that's the perfect place to end. This has been really, really, really cool. I was really excited that when you said you could do this, and I mean, really blessed, because I think you're so needed in the world today. You with your tattoos and your hair and and I really think that God is doing something in the earth today, and he's allowing some crazy looking people and some of us who might seem like the foolish things of the world to be used to shame the wise. And
yeah, and it's everybody, because he's just showing the different colors of his awesome kingdom, man. It's all nations, and it's all, I'm very colorful. I got purple, red, and you know what I'm saying? And it's like we're all beautiful in him.
Yeah.
Like the conservative, the wild looking rocker, let's just all become one and make a difference in the world, man. It's really simple if you think about it. And he's using me as only one of many, but me looking crazy like this to spread this message. Man, we're all unique, and we're all one. So let's act like it,
So let's act like it. I love it. Perfect place for us to leave you this week. And we have been just thoroughly blessed by Brian Head Welch the last few weeks. For those of you who've been watching, I thank you. Thanks for hanging around. I love you. We love you guys. And I'll see you next week for another session. I'm Cynthia Garrett. Bye. Hi, everybody. It's me, Cynthia Garrett, and I hope you're enjoying the sessions. And I just wanted to drop in on you and remind you to pick up a copy of my book, Prodigal Daughter, A Journey Home to Identity. I wrote this book because I realized that we are all prodigal kids, and there was a time in my life when I ran off looking for love in all the wrong places, and ended up in a world of trouble. But I met my maker, and I found my identity in that mess that God turned into a message. So you can go to cynthiagarrett.org and get information about how to get my book online and at booksellers everywhere. I promise it'll bless you.